Hey, Dan. I finally saw Aquaman.
Oh, shit, really?
Yeah, but something seemed really fishy about that movie.
You're starting with this already.
Well, I'm just drowning in material over here.
Fuck you.
And these stories this week were really something. But it had to be annoying for them to translate everything from blub, blub, blub.
God damn it.
Why did all the kings of Atlantis have tridents in the film? Like, there was a lot of swordfish around.
That's not the point.
What is then?
This is...
Where the fuck did you get a trident?
The internet.
Oh, the net. Here's the real catch. I bet Aquaman used a net too.
Paid a lot of good money for this trident. Never thought I'd really get to use it.
Oh, good. I get to die. I wonder if I'll just flounder around the floor for a while. And welcome back to Super Sons. I'm Jake.
And I'm Dan.
Was there anything we want to talk about before we get started, Dan?
Yeah, so we're coming down from the holiday season. So this episode is probably our least prepared. We're really just doing this one on the cuff, off the cuff, on the cuff, off the cuff. Off the cuff sounds better. We're actually recording in person for the first time ever. I'm down visiting the family in Maryland, so we're actually going to record together, except that I forgot my mic, so we only have one mic, which may cause sound issues, but we'll see how Mike can clean that up in post.
And not the mic that he forgot.
Correct.
The person.
So what kind of updates do we want to do for the DC universe? I think there's two pretty big ones.
Well, yesterday, as of recording this episode, Young Justice returned.
It did after this Cartoon Network canceled it. I almost said the CW, but the CW doesn't cancel DC shows. They just put more out.
Yeah, because those aren't based on toy sales.
Yeah. Young Justice is back on the DC Universe app. How'd you feel about the episodes, Jake?
I think that it really helps that it's on the DC streaming service because they can do whatever the hell they want. Like they showed I'm not going to say anything.
Yeah, they showed some pretty... Well, I mean, Titans has been pretty graphic as well. It just seems like the route they're taking rather than cookie cutter quips and jokes for 2 hours every 2 times a year. That's not a specific jab at anything in general.
Yeah. Well, let's just say this isn't really a spoiler, but at the end of the episode when they're doing the what's the word I'm looking for? Credits.
Oh man, that hurts.
Yeah, the credits. They have nothing. They're just still images. Well, not still images. It's just like a scene. Nothing's really happening, but they're kind of it's
impactful.
Somber music.
Yeah, the first one.
Somber music.
Even the theme song's a lot more somber for this one, just because it's already dealing with some pretty heavy topics. It's dealing with trafficking, like human trafficking with meta teens, which is a pretty heavy topic, I guess. But no, it was great. But in bigger news, Aquaman is about to cross the $1 billion line. It's made more money than The Dark Knight Rises, which is a pretty big feat. Jake doesn't like the $1 billion joke, but any chance I get to reference Austin Powers, I will take it, no matter what.
And it's the same thing for him with anything Weird Al.
Yeah, 100% will always go hard for Weird Al, especially when we talk about Animal Man. Animal Man! So today on the show, we're actually going to get to talk about 2 Aquaman stories. One is fantastic, huge inspiration for the movie. And the other one is a 4-issue series by Peter David. It's a story. So
we should generous.
Yeah, it's something like that.
It's really generous.
So the first story is Aquaman the Trench, which is from the New 52. It's the first 4 issues of Jeff Johns' Aquaman run. Something about this series in particular is that the New 52 came out when I was in college. I remember getting the issues the first day they all came out at the comic book store near the school. But Jake and I went to New York Comic Con that year. And that was like the year right before it became like super popular to be a nerd.
Yeah,
you would say?
I'd say that.
Because the floor wasn't packed or anything, and the DC booth was pretty much empty when we got into it. It
still smelled bad.
Yeah, it was always going to smell bad. We got into the DC booth, got to talk to some of our favorite writers, and I actually got to meet Jeff Johns and talk to him for a little bit. And I got to thank him for the Aquaman, the first issue, because it was incredible. And it gave people the chance to see what Aquaman was really like. And he goes, "You want to see something?" I was like, "Yeah, what do you got?" And he pulled out issue 2 from his pocket. And he let me flip through it.
He just had it rolled up in his back pocket.
So that was pretty incredible. It was really cool to like meet one of my heroes.
My favorite part about that was when you asked him why he had it. He's like, "It just makes me happy."
So that was a really good chance. So I guess I have a personal connection to this book, more so than I do. Oh God, another story. But this story is called The Trench. It was written by Jeff Johns, pencils by Ivan Reis, inks by Joe Prado. This is going to be a thing every episode where I feel like this names.
Is everybody who does these
colorists Rodriguez and letter Nick J. Napolitano sounds like Tino, whatever. So, you ever think about like how spooky the ocean is?
Of course.
Like it goes so deep, and we know more about space than we do our own ocean. If that doesn't rustle your jimmies, then maybe you just got to watch more like Blue Ocean, Blue Planet, or any documentary, or YouTube, or open a book. I don't want you to have to do that unless it's a comic book. But let's get down to this story. Issue 1 opens with a steamy reveal of the Trench, a race of monsters deep below the ocean's surface. They can speak to one another, but we can only understand them through translations. So it has a scene of them like swimming up to the surface. But then it cuts to a scene in Boston where an armored vehicle is on a Fast and Furious chase that gets interrupted by the King of the Seven Seas. Specifically, I want to mention that one page of Aquaman standing there. Not for any particular story reason, just because he looks like a total badass. And this has been 4 years since we last saw anything Aquaman related.
And that was a different Aquaman.
Yeah, and that was a whole other...
We've mentioned him.
Yeah, it's a big issue. So, the armored vehicle, everyone inside, all the robbers, just start laughing because it's Aquaman. They try to hit him. He takes his trident and he flips the whole fucking thing over his head. So these knuckleheads in the vehicle then try to shoot him. He does not take that well, and he tosses one, like a little bitch he is, into the windshield of a car. The cops ask if he needs a glass of water. So the cops literally start mocking him, even though he just stopped criminals. And they were like, "Man, can't believe we got showed up by Aquaman." So
and he just leaps away.
Yeah, Aquaman.
In a single bound.
The next scene we see is Aquaman going to a seafood restaurant where he had eaten with his father when he was a kid. He sits down, everyone's heads like turn, the record scratches, and everyone's like, "Oh my God, it's Aquaman." The waitress walks up and she's all kind of flustered because she's excited to see Aquaman. She tells him that
she's got 2 kids in college.
She's trying to put her 2 kids through college, and he just sits down, full costume, puts his trident next to the thing, and he orders fish and chips, and everyone's like, "Oh shit, does he eat fish?"
He's like, you can't eat that. He's like, "You talk to fish." And he's like, I don't talk to fish. They're not intelligent enough. And then he's like, "Dolphin, this is important because this comes up later." He says, "Dolphins are another story." And that's another story.
So then he's sitting there in trying to enjoy his meal. He doesn't get his food yet, but this blogger just sits at the table and just starts accosting him, asking him all these questions. And he's generally just a dickhead. And Aquaman's just like, nope, not dealing with this shit. And he leaves, but he leaves his check, and the lady's like, oh, is this good? And he goes, yeah, keep the change. He's walking out and she comes after him. She goes, wait, what am I supposed to do with this? And she's holding a couple of like
doubloons. And
Aquaman just says, pay for your kid's college. And he just walks away. So he didn't want the glory or anything. He just wanted to help this person out. Like, even after all these people.
But he also just wanted some food.
He didn't eat the food.
Yeah, I know. He didn't
just
even,
left it.
The guy just such an asshole.
So we cut to a flashback where Aquaman is sitting on the beach with his father, Thomas, and he's asking him why he runs a lighthouse. And his father says that he runs the lighthouse because he's got to protect the surface and help the people of the sea get back to the surface. He's a human while his mother was an Atlantean. And he says he helps watch the shores, and then he tells him it's called responsibility. Aquaman's out on the rocks doing his forlorn looking at the ocean, and Mira shows up, who isn't his wife at this point. I don't even know if they're engaged. I think they're just together because I think he proposes to her in a later issue.
He does.
Side note, Aquaman was the first superhero ever married in comic books. There was an issue for it. It's a great cover. It has Batman in it.
I did not know that.
Mm-hmm. And then Mira shows up and they talk about how Atlanteans came to the surface when Aquaman was 13, I want to say, and tried to kill him because of who he was and who his father is. And Mira says how he had proved them wrong and became the leader that they needed and all that bullshit. But he's like, listen, let those fuckers find a new king. And Mira says, and let us find a new life. So they're going to start their own life on the surface. And
that's a really big thing. That sentiment is something that's carried through all the way to current continuity, except they've changed Mira a bit more, where she wants that responsibility of rule.
Yeah, I think...
which I like this a little bit better.
Yeah. I think Mira has taken on a whole other life... since Darkest Night is when she started coming into the foreground. It was Johns wrote that, didn't he?
Blackest Night?
Blackest Night. What did I say? Darkest Night?
Yeah.
I was thinking of the motto. In Blackest Night, she fights alongside like the Justice League. She becomes a Red Lantern for like 30 seconds. And that's where Mira takes front and center. And since then, she's been a huge character. Like, people know who she is. Even before the movie, it's just like Mira's a fucking badass. And Jeff Johns is one of like the first writers.
I think this is my favorite take on her.
Yeah, especially the issue with her and Aquadog. So, cut to another scene where the Trench... Those little sea monsters are attacking a boat. Those fuckers ride that boat to the docks where they also wreck another group of people. And then Aquaman and Mira are sitting at home looking over photo albums and doing that cute couple shit. And then a police officer interrupts them, talking about the killings that happened down at the docks. The cop makes some snide remarks about Mira. He was like, oh, aren't you like a mermaid or something? So she shows him her water magic and makes a mermaid that like swims around him. And he's like, oh shit, you're more than that. And she's like, yeah.
Yeah, but that deputy was probably the most... he believed in Aquaman probably the most. Yeah,
he was the one who went and like what did he say? He'd been to every lighthouse on the coast.
Yeah.
So he came to find them specifically to help. So they go down to the docks, they're investigating, and everything seems fine until the police divers pull a cocoon out of the water, and they're like, wait, what the hell is this? And then the Trench show up, and it's just like, not like hundreds, but like a huge group of them just takes over the docks, and Aquaman and Mira go ham and legit just start slicing these things up. Eventually there's this bigger one that spits on Aquaman, which is just hella rude. The battle continues until the Trench flees from their ass whooping.
Spits on him. It's hella rude.
It's hella rude. Hey, just you like that?
We get your shoes too. Get them real shiny.
So Arthur and Mira take the body to Dr. Shen, And Mira's like, who's this guy? He goes, oh, he's like obsessed with Atlantis and shit, and he tried to kill me when I wouldn't take him there. And she's like, oh, that's cool.
He also trained me how to use my powers.
Yeah,
whatnot.
he trained him. He was also in the movie. Continuing, they get him to look at the body, and he's like, oh yeah, his spit was actually supposed to paralyze you, but you're a bamf, so nothing affects you. Then he throws kind of like a hissy fit when Aquaman's like, no, I'm taking the body. You can't keep it.
Well, I mean, the police and the government were kind of in the same boat. They're like, you can't take that body.
Yeah, but no one's going to tell him no.
Well, they'll tell him no. They don't realize he's so strong.
So then they're walking out of the house, and Shen's chasing after him. He's like, where's Atlantis? Where's Atlantis? And they just run away, and he's just left there by himself. This series is so connected. Like, Johns was dropping hints to everything in this arc for things to come. It's a well-constructed series. But so the two go into the ocean to find out where the trench are coming from, where these monsters are going, and where they've taken all of their hostages, because there were no bodies left by these attacks. So they took them somewhere clearly. So they find a large ship deep down in the ocean, and they're like, well, this can't be man-made. Like, this can't be natural. This is man-made. And Aquaman's looking over it, and he finds some runes or whatever that shit is of the Atlantis symbol. And he's like, oh shit, this had to be for centuries. So clearly they are something else. They argue about what they should do about the trench. Mira is like, let's seal these fuckers off. They're only going to keep killing people. That's what they do. And Arthur says that's what the Atlanteans think of the humans. So clearly he's got some bad blood with those fuckers. So they go deeper in, and it turns out like the children are dying, so they need food. So they've been taking people off the surface for their food, and they've put them in these pods all over the ceiling. So they get deeper into the ship, and they see the queen, and it's this giant monster that's just absorbing everything to make more children. And then they go after Aquaman and Mira, who have ripped the actual roof off of the building and just are swimming up with it where it's filled with people so they can save them. And the trench start overwhelming Aquaman, so he's now fully entrenched by the trench.
But he gets attacked by the queen, doesn't he?
Yeah, and then they pull him down, and the queen's about to eat him, and he's like, nah, fuck that, I'm sorry, I don't want to do this. But then he makes a volcano erupt. He throws his trident
at a volcanic vent.
Yeah, he throws it in there, so now it's starting to bubble up, and then he swims up, takes a cliff, and pushes it down. So they're not only sealed in, but they're also being taken out by the lava. So it really just makes sure that's driven home.
Do you think they're good eats?
No, I probably would not eat one of those things.
No, you're not a big seafood guy.
Yeah, I would not. No, not in a million years.
Good eats.
Guy Fieri's Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives. Today we're going to be eating the trench. It's Aquaman with like spiked hair. He's got his sunglasses on the back of his head, but he eats everything with a trident. Sorry. I can't get the goddamn image of Guy Fieri as Aquaman out of my head.
That's the Aquaman. Sorry, Momoa.
Hi, I'm Jason Momoa. All right. So they get back to the surface, and all the pods open up, and everybody's happy and alive. Blah blah blah. They go back to the house to start their new life, but the same officer shows up
with the initial pod.
Yeah, with the initial pod, which actually had a dog in it, a little doggy. The owner of the dog had died. It was one of the people in the pod.
One of the, I think, two that actually did die.
One of the two that died, and then the cop gives them the dog. I think he says Aqua Dog, and then he goes, "Oh, you can name it Aqua Dog."
And then he tells them the dog can't swim.
And then Mira says, "We'll have to teach it," and that's where the issue ends.
Well, on the topic of the dog is great.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, he is hashtag good boy. And when they first open up the pod that has him in it, his initial response is to bark at one of the trench that is still on the dock after the big fight that happened.
Yeah, Aquadog is actually not like a pinnacle part of the series, but there's a great issue with him later on. So yeah, it's a great story. Wrote down a couple little things to talk about in the story. I think my favorite quote from the entire issue is Mira when she's fighting on the dock and she's got all the water flowing around her and she's slicing these dudes up like it's nobody's business. And she goes, "You attack us like monsters. We do the same." Something about Mira that I've always liked is that she's more like Wonder Woman than anyone else, is that it's not that she doesn't care about killing, but like if she has to kill somebody, she's going to kill somebody. That's why I like the Atlanteans more than I like the other superheroes, just because they do what needs to be done. They're also xenophobic assholes, but she's not. She's
who's also like that?
Who?
The Amazons.
Yeah. Remember when Wonder Woman snapped that dude's neck on national television?
I mean...
yeah, nobody else does.
He did just... Yeah, he did shoot someone in the head.
Yeah, he had it coming.
Poor Blue.
Yeah, so overall, I think it's gotta be one of my favorite Aquaman stories up until Dan Abnett's most recent run with Chevette. God, I can't say his name. There's no way I can pronounce that man's name. Like, he's one of the fucking best artists out there, but I'll never be able to.
Is that Beeswax Beard Aquaman?
Yeah, Beeswax Beard Aquaman.
There's so many titles you can give to Aquaman.
Yeah, so what did you think of the issue, Jake, or the series?
What I it was a fun read. It was a really fun read, but what really jumped out at me was the art. It just stunning, especially the colors in the way that the suits are colored. Like, each individual scale gets like if it's supposed to shine, it's like a bright orange. If it's on like the corner of him, it's just... It really shows the figure of both Aquaman and Mira. Just you get a sense of their dimension, and it's just stunning work. And the trench themselves, their design is the stuff of fucking nightmares.
Yeah, they're so they're just terrifying looking. They really always have. Like, from there, they've only shown up a couple more times, but they're always really scary to look at.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a big Aquaman guy, so really this is one of the only times I've seen them other than the movie. Yeah,
so they're
but in the movie they're a known quantity.
Yeah, in the movie they kind of just go out and they're like, yeah, they used to be Atlanteans. Simple as that. They don't really put any doubt into it or anything. Sorry, I'm just trying to Google if they're brothers. Like, I really just want to know if Ivan and Rod are brothers now.
Yeah, no, I was thinking about that. We should have done that beforehand.
Yeah, whatever.
But
I'll figure it out.
While we're talking about that, as we mentioned about the jerk blogger and the restaurant, before Aquaman walks out, he asks him probably the meanest question you can ask a superhero. He says to Aquaman, "What is it like to be nobody's favorite superhero?" And towards in the end of the story, after they bring all the people back from the trench, a little boy runs up to Aquaman and Mira and says, "You're my favorite superhero," which is so nice.
Yeah, I think that was something that also really stuck with me. The entire first arc is kind of like a reintroduction, like a soft reintroduction to Aquaman as a character. And I think Johns has such a passion for the character that he does it in the best way, that he totally acknowledges that that everyone thought he was a joke. But it's just like, now he's not. Like, you can't say those types of things anymore. Yeah, I just think this is probably one of the best reintroductions to the character that there has been. I'm trying to think if there's anything else in this issue that really stands out to me. As you said, it was so easy to read. Like, it was just something you could blow through because it was so good.
Yeah, and it was a breath of fresh air because I read this right after I had read our other story for today, Times and Tide, and it just. I keep on saying Times and Tide. It's just Time and Tide, which...
Yeah, it's bad. It's so bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the story is...
But the setting. We were talking before we started that we think it has got to have something to do with
Oh, yeah. So it's in Boston. So it kind of means that Mercy Reef, is that Mercy Reef? What do they call it in this? Amnesty Bay. Amnesty Bay, Mercy Reef's where he lives. Is in Boston. It's got to be up near Boston.
Yeah.
So Aquaman has to have a Boston accent.
clam chowder.
Yeah. So like there's no possible way that he doesn't have a Boston accent in the comics. So now I'm going to have to read it like that every single time I read him.
Mark Wahlberg is Aquaman.
Yeah. So it's like... God damn it. But it's
he's
like,
also friends with Ted.
Hey, the car. But it's like you have these voices in your head for all the characters. Like if you don't read Batman and hear Kevin Conroy in your head, there's something fucking wrong with you. I guess the Flash for me is what's that guy's name? What's Barry Allen's name? What's his real name? Grant.
Grant Gustin.
It's Grant. Like I hear Grant because that's what I'm like.
Yeah,
it's either Grant or Wally from Justice League.
Yeah, which is strange because they use that same voice actor for Barry in Lego DC Supervillains.
Which voice?
The Justice League voice.
Who voiced them? It's Lex Luthor. No. Yeah, it's Lex Luthor.
Same guy, yeah.
Yeah, it's Lex Luthor from Smallville. But overall, this is fantastic and inspired me to buy Jeff Johns' Omnibus of Aquaman the next day. It was on sale. Just got to add that to my ever-growing pile of comic books that I have not read. And now we get to talk about Aquaman Time and Tide.
Written by one Peter David, who...
So Peter David he's either hit or miss. Guess you never miss, huh? TikTok memes.
Too many TikTok
memes for the kids. Peter David's, as you said, he's either really good or he's a dumpster fire. He's a dumpster fire. So let's go over the team first. I have a little bit to talk about, then we'll do the summary. So,
it is written by Peter David, who has been, as we've said.
We'll talk about all that at the end.
Pencils by Kirk Jarvinen. Inks by Brad Vancanta. Vancata sounds right. We are butchering names today.
Mm-hmm.
Lettered by Dan Nakrosis.
Sure.
Nakrosis.
And Tom McCraw. That one's easy.
That is easy.
Ivan Reyes is how you say his name, by the way. Peter David wrote a lot of Aquaman. And
he pretty much did all of 90s Aquaman.
In my memory, this story was good. I remember, I guess, end of middle school, high school, I really liked this story. And I really loved the Atlantis Chronicles, which he does a bit from in this. And now I'm really afraid to go back to read that because I went back to read this and it was
a dumpster fire.
Yeah. All right. So let's stop shit talking and get to the actual summary.
So, what Time and Tide is that it's an attempt at rewriting Aquaman's history and origin by making him chronicle certain adventures over the course of 4 issues. None of them really interlock. It's just what his life has been up to that point. The first issue is him teaming up with the Flash in his first outing as, Aquaman.
That issue is actually probably the high point of the entire series.
Yeah, but after he saves the Flash, he kind of is just sitting in a dark cave, squatting and in the shadows,
watching him sleep.
Yeah, and he's looks like a goddamn goblin. He looks like he's trying to be Batman, but Batman has the cape, so you don't see the awkward sitting position.
So the issue is about the trickster attacks a yacht with some rich people on it.
And he's got a golden age styled submarine.
Yeah. Also, he runs on air. Did you catch that? Like, he's not.
That's not uncommon.
He just runs on air.
He's a tricks.
Yeah. Okay. I know he turns tricks, but how does he run on fucking air?
He turns tricks. I don't think he does that.
Hey, he turns tricks. That's what the trickster does. No, but that part bothered me the most of this entire. She's like, what the fuck is he doing? How did he just run on air?
I think he's got like air walking shoes.
Okay, yeah, sure, whatever.
It's comics, Dan.
Yeah.
You're reading. You're thinking way too much into this.
But then the Flash runs across
But no,
water.
I'm more like he has a submarine. As far as I know, Central City is in like the middle of the country.
Isn't it supposed to be like a Midwestern?
Yeah, it's like the Midwest. There's no water around that's deep enough for a submarine.
Well, Jake, maybe he ran on air there. Why are you thinking about it so much? Just comic books.
Fair enough.
The entire story is a frame. It's a frame story of him writing in the Atlantis Chronicles. He's writing in the Journals of the Kings to keep going. Of like the monarchs, they write all their bullshit down. It's just something that it's been in many Aquaman stories. But that issue is just him teaming up with the Flash. Like he goes to the surface for the first time. Out of nowhere, some big execs try to give him, what do they call him?
They're trying to make him the Ocean King.
Yeah, they try to give him a brand, and like people are wearing shirts with it.
Yeah, like they already have all of that ready.
Yeah, like at the win, like as soon as he gets out of the car, people are wearing these shirts.
Like, and like it's like a really designed logo of Ocean King. And I'm just like, did they know this was going to happen?
Yeah, but the thing it also was just like, what the fuck is that? It was just Aquaman colors on the Ocean Master costume. It's like they were just phoning in this entire thing.
Oh yeah, no.
And it's on the cover. It says it's like a big blockbuster. But it's just like, what the fuck is going on? The entire 4 issues.
It's a weird mini.
Yeah. So then you get to issue 2.
Well, in issue 2, we find out that Aquaman was found, saved, and raised by dolphins, which apparently, as of our last story we talked about, the trench, where he says dolphins are another story. Yeah, that's a real another story. So it shows him growing up with the dolphins. It shows him being competitive with another dolphin to the point where there's one dolphin that really catches Arthur's eye. He really wants to court this dolphin. And, well, his brother dolphin was just like, nah, dude, she's mine. And then Arthur goes up to his dolphin mom and is like, Mom, tell him to stop being an asshole. And she says, no, you can't have sex with that other dolphin. She's a dolphin. And he's like, why not? Because you're not one of us. And then they go up to the surface of the water and they find a boat. And Arthur gets his first view of another human being.
So in issue 2, Aquaman tries to fuck a dolphin. It's just like, this is the reason people thought Aquaman was a goddamn joke for so long. Like, Hanna-Barbera started it. And then since then, it's just been like, aha, he talks to fish. And then Peter David was like, haha, he wants to fuck a dolphin.
Well, I mean, it's a mammal. It's not a fish.
So then there's issue 3 where, for some fucking reason, Arthur is in Alaska. Is where it's Alaska.
The Arctic.
Yeah, meeting Eskimos, and he wants to once again. He's got to be 18.
I think he's like 16. He's wearing like cutoff shorts. Like he's wearing like jean shorts that are like Daisy Dukes in the cold and nothing else.
Yeah, it's really weird. It's the whole thing. And then Orm is there, who's his Ocean Master, who's his half brother. But in this, he's half Eskimo, also half old sea wizard man who fucked their moms.
Yeah.
Is it Atlan? Is it? My memory fails me, but I think it's Atlan is the name of the sea wizard.
I think
he's got the blonde hair. Everyone who has blonde hair is cursed.
I don't know if Atlan's in that one or the green fish man with the blonde hair and purple eyes, which for people who don't understand, green skin is a bad omen for being an Atlantean, so is blonde hair, and so was purple eyes, which is why Aquaman has blonde hair, and the original Aqualad, Garth, has purple eyes.
So they're outcasts and their own people.
Yeah.
We could talk more about like the actual stuff at the end. So then who beats this girl into a coma? Is it Orm?
Well, no. Well, hold on. We didn't talk about what happened between them.
What happened between them?
They had sex.
Yeah, in the snow.
In the snow.
While they're playing baseball.
Yeah, playing baseball. And it's really uncomfortable because you can tell she's underage, and then she takes off her, like, parka, and it's really uncomfortable because she has, like, the body of, like, you only get to see her from the back, but it's like a body of, like, a real supervillain, and it makes you feel really uncomfortable.
The whole thing's uncomfortable. I don't know why he turns around to grab the ball and just completely... the whole thing is just...
It doesn't make sense.
But then doesn't Orm beat her into a coma? Or who beats her into a coma?
He cuts her up.
Yeah, and then she...
Because he wanted to be with her. Even though it's like... I'm pretty sure they addressed him that they're related. They're like cousins. If I'm remembering correctly.
What the fuck is wrong with Peter David?
I don't know, but he made some. This is
wait. Let's finish the summary. I got more shit talking to do. So then the fourth issue is him as Aquadad. Jake. This is actual something that Jake wrote. King of Atlantis and Pull My Finger Jokes has his first run-in with Ocean Master. Aquadad, King of Atlantis, and Pull My Finger Jokes. Okay. And Garth is in this, who's Aqualad.
You know why it's funny that he says pull my finger jokes?
Why?
Because Peter David has his hand cut off.
Good.
Because he's a dad.
And this whole he like is writing about it. It's his half brother. They were both.
Well, no, he doesn't find out that he's his half brother until the very end.
Oh yeah, he figures it out
because he's reading it. Because the original King of Atlantis, who was the green fish man, with blonde hair and purple eyes.
I don't think he was the original king, was he? Oh, maybe because he got turned.
Yeah,
whatever.
No, he's
that's
a
Atlantis
sea
Chronicles.
monster.
Yeah,
I don't know. You've read more of it than I did, but it says 2 half brothers will fight each other for the throne. Blah 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 blah.
Basically, an old spooky old spooky ocean wizard banged 2 women and made these kids, and then one tried to kill the other's girlfriend, who was also his cousin that he tried to bang. Then he became the Ocean Master, and he had this ugly goatee.
It wasn't a goatee; it was actually a full beard.
Oh,
but, the way this art is drawn is kind of very cartoony. It's very. It seems very Disney-like.
Yeah.
So when I was looking back through writing my talking points, I noticed Orm, which, why is he called Orm? That's an Atlantean name. But anyway, Orm looks just like Jafar. He's just trying to get that genie.
Yeah, I'm not trying to kill an Eskimo girl. So this origin story, we're done summarizing this. The origin story is fucked. It's bonked so hard. Like his mom stooped that old sea wizard. Pete, please stop. The journaling stuff I do like, the whole like Atlantis Chronicles, because that carries on through a lot of Aquaman. Mm-hmm. Kings keep these journals. The best version of it is in Brave and the Bold, where Aquaman writes about his journeys, and it's like the journey
outrageous.
Oh man, he says something, the journey of him and Batman go to punch they're hilarious. They're just like,
but they always change it to make him look as heroic as possible.
Oh yeah,
even if he did nothing right.
What else? You had more notes than I did. I just don't ever want to think about this story again.
Oh god. Most of my things are questions, and I've already said them. What the fuck did Orm do to his stepdad? His stepdad's just sitting in a goddamn chair and his mom's yelling at him.
Yeah. She was like, why did you make him like this? But like, what did he do?
But then it's like, wait. And then like the next issue, Aquaman's like, wait a minute. I wasn't there for that. Because he's writing everything. So Aquaman just wrote a fucking thing about him being a piece of shit to his mom and his stepdad. saying, "Oh yeah, Orm. I wasn't there, but I'm pretty sure Orm took a knife out of his pocket, fucking switchblade, and put it to his mom's throat."
Yeah,
And then he used that same switchblade on my girlfriend.
it's just like what. Aquaman is just writing fan fiction about his brother. Orm is mean. He do bad thing. Print.
Blub blub.
God. The opening with the little girl flushing her fish down the toilet. Like the opening is her mom like, "Oh yeah, you can just flush that shit down the toilet. I'll buy you a cat." And she's like, "Oh yeah, that's."
Fishies go to fish heaven.
Yeah, and then the fish gets eaten by a bigger fish.
After it goes through the sewage treatment plant completely whole and and you can tell it's fecal matter.
Oh God. The sleazy business guys try to make Aquaman Ocean King. Mira's only in one issue, right?
And she looks like a Ariel from The Little Mermaid.
Yeah.
She's got the hair and everything. But also, in the whole... I mean, only one issue of this doesn't have any notion of sexuality of teenagers.
It's so
like
weird.
In the fourth issue, Garth is making out with Tula and, trying to... I was going to say laying down pipe. Trying to lay down pipe.
You're going to go to fucking hell.
I'm going to hell. But, no, it's like... It's so... making this joke is the only way to make this...
It's uncomfortable.
It's so uncomfortable.
It's all uncomfortable.
I'm just like
if it was like a teen drama book, like if it was like stuff like that, that's cool. Like that's the point of it. But this is an Aquaman origin book.
Yeah.
Why the fuck did he write these 4 issues?
Yeah. But, and like, especially coming off the last thing I read from Peter David, which was Spider-Man 2099.
He wrote 2099?
He created the character.
Really?
Yeah. Oh. Like it's a completely different tone. It's a lot more serious. It's a lot darker.
I think the last Peter David I read was X Factor.
After I told you to.
Yeah. And it was good, but there's a lot of this weird shit in it too.
Yeah.
Like with the baby that gets reabsorbed. Like shit. Well, most of
the time he tries to make it like funny when it comes to sex.
So I think Peter David writes really funny dialogue, but some of his story shit just like, I don't know, problematic, I guess it would be. I like Peter David. Like I loved X Factor. I loved his Guido. I love his Jamie. I love his Shatterstar. I loved all of his. I loved what he did. Yeah. But there's a lot of weird shit in that too that you just have to brush away to get to the other stuff.
Yeah, but in that one, it's always presented as comedy. Like Jamie sleeping with,
other than the body horror of her having that baby that he reabsorbs.
Well, that was fucking dark.
Yeah, that was.
But like him having a one night stand with both her.
Yeah, that's Monet, Jamie stuff. But like it's
like
still,
that's funny. But like
I don't know.
Even there was a problematic thing with that, but it was written off as a joke.
Yeah, I don't know. So, I think if you couldn't figure it out by now, we're going to say Time and Tide is the essential read today.
Yeah.
No, just fucking with you. Go out and buy, if you liked the movie, please go out and buy anything Jeff Johns and Aquaman related. Dude is good. We've talked about Jeff Johns a lot. Just because.
Yeah, no, this is the Jeff Johns podcast.
We love Jeff Johns. We were going to be the Kingsman, the Tom King podcast, but now we are the Jeff Johns podcast. But really, I think we grew up in the Jeff Johns era of comic books.
We did. I mean, my first real series that I followed was his run on The Flash. Yeah,
he's like the, I don't know what the Chris Claremont would be.
But he's post Rebirth. You're seeing a lot less of his influence.
Well, because he does all the movies and all that stuff. But like everyone's got their time period of like, there's the Marv Wolfman kids, there's the Mark Waid people, there's people who
Marv Wolfman,
Claremont, there's Curb. Like you have all these creators. And I think
I can't wait till we talk about some Marv.
Yeah, I know.
He's just a delightful human being.
But the reason we've done so much Jeff is because that's what we've grown up with. Like that's that and Grant Morrison, who I'll fucking fight anyone about. He has done some things that are very problematic as well, but he's one of the the greatest comic book creators of all time. And I'll go to the mat.
Oh yeah,
Name and address, I will come.
I mean, we have multiple ones planned for just him, but I think we should push those back because
talk a lot about Batman.
We talk a lot.
Well, all right, so I've decided we're not doing a spotlight this week because both Jake and I have seen Aquaman now. So this is some time for us to talk about it. So we're going to talk about the movie. We don't want to do too many spoilers, but there will be spoilers. So if you haven't seen the movie yet, please turn this off. You know what it is.
You'll hear our dulcet tones after everything. And
we're not going to do like a critical analysis or any of that shit or go deep into it because we'll do that. We'll do that when we actually get to do this against something else in a year. We'll probably do something just because I don't want to ruin this for anybody. But what were your thoughts on the movie?
It was just fun.
What were your like top 3 moments?
The final fight.
That was such a good fight.
Mira eating the flower. Whoa, this is some good Italian food.
Oh, bobbity boobity.
I think one of the cooler parts, probably my third, was maybe when they were in the desert and he's like, we could have just peed on it.
Oh, the pitbull part? You like the pitbull part the best?
Yeah, the pitbull part.
Mr. 305?
Yeah.
Mr. Worldwide? What's his other one?
Man, no,
Mr. Worldwide.
I'm talking about like right after that, but yeah. It's either that or when Mira breaks a bunch of bottles of wine.
Makes them into like bullets.
Yeah.
She's so badass. My number one's Black Manta. I did not expect myself to go into that movie and be like, oh yeah, Black Manta was the best part. I'll talk about that more in a second. But 2 was probably... The first was the Black Manta scene on the submarine. 2 was the Black Manta scene in Italy. And then 3 was the final fight and Arthur not hating his brother and saying, when you're ready to talk, let's talk. I think that was so much more powerful than any superhero ending I've seen.
Also, probably another one is in the bar in the beginning.
Oh my god!
With Fish Boy, it's Fish Man, and then the bikers. Just the one biker pulls out like the most girly ass phone,
and then they take pictures together. And I love the progression of the pictures. They just get drunker and they're just hanging out. Yeah, because I think the movie captured something about Aquaman that most people don't get. Is that he's the outsider on both
fronts. Yeah,
both fronts. And when he's talking to Mira in the boat, and he's just like, I'm just an instrument of like weaponry. Like I don't do this feeling stuff. He's like never been a part of anything. And I think the movie captured that perfectly of who Aquaman is, and he does have an anger issue. Like he's always been known to have.
And I think everyone's favorite dude, bro, Jason Momoa.
Yeah,
who's just amazing.
He's just incredible. He's so good. He's meant for this role. Like
yeah, and I think Amber Heard, who I haven't really seen in much.
She's not.
Yeah.
I've seen one movie with her, London Fields or something. Mm-hmm. And I honestly was ready to put my head through the seat in front of me. Not her fault. It was maybe just one of the worst movies I've ever seen.
But no, she was wonderful. She was great in the movie. I don't really think anyone's portrayal was necessarily bad.
I thought all the characters' work was great. Like Volko was fucking great. Well, Willem Dafoe, avid listener, avid listener of our podcast, was incredible. But oh shit, why did I not list this as my number one? The trench scene. The trench scene was James Wan at his best, because James Wan's done Saw, Insidious, Conjuring,
some more Saw, Fast
and Furious,
a lot more Saw.
But he's like he's
doing Swamp Thing.
Yeah, he's doing Swamp Thing. He's the king of horror. Like,
oh yeah, I'm really excited to see what he does with Swamp Thing.
Swamp Thing.
Yeah, no.
But the movie was just. I just couldn't believe how good it was. You know, it had Mary fucking Poppins.
Yeah, yeah. But you know, if we get Peter David to write Swamp Thing and go on direct it, and it'd be real weird because there'll be a lot of vines all over some people.
No, I think Swamp Thing had some weird sexual stuff in it too. With
No, I know
the yam, or when Swamp Thing goes into John Constantine's body to have sex with his wife. It's just guys hanging out in the swamp. They're just a bunch of friends hanging out doing weird stuff in swamps.
I mean, John Constantine probably enjoyed that though.
Yeah, John Constantine's he's a lot.
He's a deviant in all senses, all senses of the word.
Yeah, but back to Aquaman. The soundtrack was great. I think something Mike, our sound guy, brought up is the fact that all the fights were like you could see what was going on. Mm-hmm. It wasn't like this jumbled mess. Like, Justice League had the issue where it was like that.
Yeah,
with the parademon stuff. The Marvel movies have it. Like you can't
get that a lot because there's you don't want a big horde fight. You want like a one-on-one fight, which I mean,
even then, even when it was like the big groups fighting Mira or his mom or things like that, you could because the colors,
was always very focused.
Yeah, the colors,
but it was only
focused.
two of them.
Yeah, it was only two fighting at once, but there was three people on her, and it's still, you could tell what was going on. Even just like Justice League had the issue, most Marvel movies, you can't fucking tell what's going on in the fight just because the direction isn't there.
Yeah, no,
other than Winter Soldier.
What you're bringing up to me is just drawing me back to Age of Ultron. And
that was trash. The whole thing was trash.
Oh yeah, no, but I'm thinking of when they're under the the podium, the gazebo thing,
where they're trying to
redo the circling around them.
Well, because in Avengers 1 they have that circle and it's a beautiful scene. Like that's
but in that they're not really Were they fighting in that one? Okay,
because Hawkeye has his bow. Like they're about to fight, but
yeah, but that was
God. Yeah. But Winter Soldier has the elevator fight, which is incredible. The Dean did it better in Community, but
Dean.
It is. Did you know that's a reference to Captain America: Winter Soldier?
Yeah, I know that
because the Russo brothers Patrick Wilson blew me out of the fucking water.
Oh yeah, no, he was great.
He's always great. He was great as Dan. He was great in every one of James Wan's movies because best friends.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think there was anything I didn't like. I mean, I was going to go into the movie and like it.
You were very upset when you saw that the fisherman was very different. You wanted some waiters on him. Yeah.
So the thing with the fisherman is it's Aquaman's third supervillain. He doesn't have any other villains other than the fisherman, Ocean Master, and Black Manta. Nothing else has stuck. He's had lots of other villains, but those are the only three people that know.
Those are the only three that come back.
Yeah.
That and Garth's crabby uncle.
Oh yeah. Did you know that the crab man, the crab that he fights in
the movie,
the final scene? Yeah, in the final scene, that's Gimli from Lord of the Rings.
Oh, is it really?
Because I was listening to him, I was like, "Oh man, that would be so funny if this was Gimli." And then I looked it up, and it's Gimli.
Yeah.
That
was a grand fight. Like that was a real war, though.
Oh yeah, and then when Mary Poppins came out, it was great. I love Julie Andrews. And I love that it went up against Mary Poppins, whatever, Returns or something. Mary Poppins Returns got destroyed at the box office because
of Mary Poppins.
They didn't have Julie Andrews.
Yeah,
Aquaman had Julie Andrews.
Yeah, no. People are very much crediting Amber Heard and Jason Momoa with the success of the movie. No.
It's just a good movie. Well, I mean, they're also great. Like, Amber Heard is fantastic. She's just like, but she's like, it seems like she's just a delightful person too.
Oh, she does.
Like she's just a good person. And yeah, I got a lot more to say about that, but I'll keep that agenda to myself. Yeah. Because fuck that. Jason Momoa is great.
Everyone in the movie is like, seems like the delightful person, even
they just seem nice.
Yeah, they all seem like even when they're in character, you'd be like, I feel like this person's a really, really nice and kind person that you'd want to spend time with.
Yeah, and I'm excited to see what's next because what is it? Next month is Shazam, so we'll be doing an episode about Shazam. I gotta admit, before we do that episode, I have been a long-time hater of Shazam with no reason other than Aquaman always gets stooped out of things because of him. But that's because Shazam was the biggest character ever. for a long time. Elvis Presley's favorite superhero.
Yeah, well, no, his favorite superhero was
Captain Marvel Jr.
Yeah, Captain Marvel Jr.
All right, so I guess that brings us to the end of this week's episode. You can find us at DC Super Sons on Twitter. If you have any requests, reviews, anything like that.
Or if you just want to yell at us.
Yeah, if you just want to yell at us, say we're horrible people, spit on us, just like the Trench did on Aquaman. Hella rude, but you can do it. It's fine.
I mean, you can even be like, oh, you guys' opinions were wrong about Aquaman. I would never want to have a beer with Jason Momoa. I mean, if you actually think that you're just...
Yeah, I would just block you. You can say it, I'll just block you.
Yeah, if you don't want to have a beer with Jason Momoa and bake cookies with Amber Heard, you're brain dead.
All right. I guess that's it. I'll see you guys in 2 weeks. We're probably going to be talking about a certain Green Lantern.
And but not a Green Lantern that is heavily written by Johns.
Well,
yeah.
Well, the other one was.
The other one.
The one we'll be talking about is a big Jeff Johns.
And then the other one.
There's the other one who no one cares about but you.
No, people cared about him, and then Jeff Johns was like, nah.
Cared about him. Yeah. All right, so that's it.
Yeah, Jeff Johns.
You got Jeff Johns. All right. God bless. Good luck. Thanks for listening.